Former Minneapolis police officer convicted of murder in the death of George Floyd, Derek Chauvin, we're talking about. He will be sentenced now on June the 16th by Hennepin County Judge Peter Cahill. He is the judge who oversaw the entire trial. Now, Chauvin was found guilty on charges of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden marks 100 days in office this week, with more than half of Americans actually saying they approve of his job performance. Polls show the president gets high marks, especially when it comes to his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. His lowest marks are on the situation taking place right now at the southern border. Well, a person I know who has all of the information you need to know about this is Washington correspondent Jessie Tenor. She's joining us live with how he fares overall in Congress and what they think about what he's been doing. Good morning, Jessie. Good seeing you.
Yeah, good morning, Sharon. Good to hear your voice. President Biden's first several months in office were definitely seen as a rejection of the previous administration, and Republicans were quick to criticize that.
I give President Biden an A for rhetoric in the first 100 days and an F in results.
For Republicans like North Carolina Congressman Richard Hudson, the president's first days in office were a test he failed. Ohio Congressman Mike Turner points to the slew of executive orders that overturned Trump-era policies.
Many of which were problematic and had bipartisan support when they were undertaken by the Trump administration.
Arkansas Congressman Rick Crawford says President Biden should reverse his actions to address the surge of migrants at the southern border.
The border wall construction, which is authorized and funded, I think we need to reinstate the Remain in Mexico policy and provide the support to those Border Patrol agents rather than making them social workers.
Ahead of her meeting with the president of Guatemala today, Vice President Kamala Harris told CNN she is handling the complex issue diplomatically to address the root causes.
They can give the resources to people who naturally want to stay at home and give them some sense of hope that help is on the way.
The COVID-19 pandemic continues to loom over the new administration, with the virus killing more than 500,000 Americans. There is bipartisan agreement over the success of vaccinations, but Michigan Congresswoman Lisa McClain says the price tag of the president's first major legislative win, the nearly $2 trillion relief package, is still problematic.
We're spending money right now like drunken sailors.
President Biden will address a joint session of Congress Wednesday where he is expected to unveil his next major legislative priority, the American Family Plan. That will largely focus on social welfare issues like child care and paid family leave. Live in Washington, I'm Jessie Tenor.
Jessie, real quick for you. Sorry to interrupt you, but we heard from, of course, Republicans in Congress actually not happy with how President Biden is dealing with what's going on the border. But what are the Democrats saying? Are they in support of his actions on the border, or do they have changes of their own they want him to make?
Right now, Democrats are really being tasked with coming up with some sort of solution. The House, Democrat controlled, of course, has passed legislation that would make it easier to get on that pathway to citizenship. The Senate has yet to take up that legislation. You did hear from Harris that right now, even though she's been put in charge of the issue, that right now she's trying to tackle it in a more diplomatic way. And so she wasn't able to throw out kind of concrete solutions as well. And that's why Republicans keep hitting back on this, saying that, you know, she needs to go to the southern border in person like a lot of them have, but she has yet to schedule a trip.
All right, so we'll have to wait and see for sure what happens. Great job as always, and good to see you as well. Thank you so much, Jessie Tenor, reporting live for us from Washington, D.C.